BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Coleman Gearheart. A former athlete and motivational coach, I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living out my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
In today's BTB Influencers episode, I'm going to be discussing the life of a huge impact, and that's Simon Sinek. He is a prolific speaker, book writer. I came across this concept about 8-9 years ago that put me on mission of understanding more of the why in my life. And he has this book called Starting with Why: The Power of Purpose in Achieving Greatness. And through getting to know this book and then seeing Simon do this prolific TED Talk on the concept of why, it got me thinking about all of the times in my life where I've been able to do something extraordinary. What was the root cause of that? And a lot of people that I help in my life now as a coach stems more from conversations about uncovering what makes them tick rather than me coaching at them to make them do something. The profound impact that Simon has been in my life came down to a very simple quote, and that is, when you are able to have a well-established why, it can overcome anyhow. And my relatability to that message from Simon is what has birthed the BTB Project. In his TED Talk, he does a good job taking some of the big brands out there like a Microsoft or an Apple and why people buy from big companies like that. And I'm going to use Apple as an example, and it's important for you as a listener to understand their strategy to get us hooked on the product or service that they're offering. And Apple has done a good job of grabbing the attention of its buyers through streamlining their products to not only have a fit or functionality that they desire, but also the image of the Apple, the iconic technology that they've been able to tap into has stemmed from having a strong why. And as a BTB influencer, Simon Sinek does a tremendous job of helping you and I understand our why. And he does this by really defining the concept of why. What is the driving force behind your actions or your company mission? And that also starts with the golden circle. And the golden circle is what illustrates the relationship between why, how, and what. And Apple's able to do this by having that strong why based off of its company roots. The how is being able to translate all of those products and services to create a solution of how they're going to be able to provide value. And then the what is you and me being able to understand some of our common needs whether it's a communication device like an iPhone, whether it's a productivity device like a MacBook, whether it's a home streaming device like an Apple TV. They've been able to take that entire golden circle and absolutely hit it out of the park to make us want to continue to consume more and more. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm always looking at the price of Apple products and I'm like, man, they certainly charge a premium, but because of the experience, because of the why, because of, to be quite honest, the ease of use that it's been to be something that we use in our family, it's hard not to say no to an Apple product, but it comes from a well established why. This is why it's important to define what your why is. The Built to Be project lives based off of an open-ended question. What are you built to be? What are you built to become? I ask that question to hear what people have to say, to hear what makes them tick, to hear what drives and motivates them. Through that question, I'm able to untap individuals, teams, their why, and then begin to align solutions and roadmaps to help them tap into what they want to become. And let's talk about the impact of starting with your why. Simon Sinek explores the implications of starting with what versus starting with why. If we're always talking about result oriented outcomes, what do you want? What are you going to do to get there? It turns into this situation where you don't understand why they're doing it. I got a great example of just that. I had a tennis player that I was helping. Every time they took the court, they just had no energy, very low energy, kind of lackadaisical. Didn't want much to do with the team being on the court. And it got to the point in the middle of the season where I sat down this player and I asked them, why do you play? What is the reason why you play tennis? And the result of that question was them saying, my parents said I needed to do a sport. And this was the easiest sport that I thought I could do. Now, think about that for a second. Someone that's going out and playing a sport that their parents have made them play. And I remember at the end of the year, the parents asking me why they hadn't improved or why they didn't have the results that they thought they were going to have. And I remember asking the parents, have you ever asked your child why they play? And after I said that, it went completely silent because what they realized was they never asked why. They assumed if they put their child in a sport that it would help keep them active, keep them out of trouble, so on and so forth. But if you don't have a reason why you're doing something, how are you going to have success? How are you going to be motivated? So making sure that you have a well-established why to overcome any how is more important than starting with the what behind what you do. There's a lot of pitfalls of organizations that focus solely on the what and overlooking their deeper purpose. I remember seeing this with a company like Blockbuster. There was a situation where growing up in the 90s, on the weekends, going to Blockbuster and renting a couple video games and some VHSs, that was the time of your life. And at that point, they had a pretty good established why, being the icon of rentals in that era. But then there came a point where the ease of doing business with them became a little challenging. For those of you who grew up in the 90s and know Blockbuster, do you remember that moment where you do a 3-day rental and it gets to day 4, 5, or 6 and you get charged late fees? And it was literally like the price of the rental per day late, they would add it. So you're basically taking at that time a $25 movie that you could go buy at the store, and it becomes a $95 movie if you turn it in 10 days late with late fees. And that's just ridiculous. So the what behind that was what Blockbuster was focusing on. They're like, what if we charge more late fees to people that don't bring back the movies? And they thought that would produce more income and help the business thrive. Well, then someone like Netflix comes along or Redbox and all sorts of different companies that decided to make it more about the why of being easy to do business with than it is to shortchange or make the customer experience not very exciting. And then you see Blockbuster fade out. And that is the implications of not having a strong established why and being able to adapt and adjust some of those intricacies of the why to accommodate the true goal or people that you're trying to help. Part of this process that Simon Sinek talks about is manipulation tactics to authentic inspiration. The manipulating tactics that I've seen a lot in business or in athletics is people that don't have a well established why. When you have an established why, you're in that authentic inspiration mode to where no matter what's being thrown at you, no matter what obstacle, no matter the how behind it, whatever it may be, you have a root, you have a foundation, brick and mortar to stand on that allows you to overcome adversity, overcome the odds, overcome trial and tribulation, difficult circumstances. You are being fueled by your why in any circumstance that can help you overcome anything in your life. The long-term benefits of having an established why is that it's building your brand based off of authenticity and a strong sense of purpose. Everybody is always wondering why they aren't successful in life, or things don't come easy to them, or they don't have favor in their life. And I guarantee you right now, I'm not saying that life is easy. I'm not saying you establish a why and then all of a sudden it's a snap of the fingers and your life completely falls exactly the way that it's supposed to. But here's what will happen when you establish a why. It will transform and impact you by leading with purpose. So I have a call to action for you as the listener. I want you to think about some self reflection here, whether it's the situation that you're in or you as an individual, a company you work with, a team that you're on, whatever it may be. What is lasting success and fulfillment in your life? And what is the why behind that? As you're able to think about that, it changes and transforms the entirety of your life. So, what's my why? My why is Built to Be Project. BTB was an acronym of a nickname when I was growing up. I was called Big Teddy Bear. 5'10, over 300 pounds, people making fun of me. And my nickname was BTB, Big Teddy Bear. And I made a promise to myself in that moment at 14 years old that I never wanted a kid to have to experience what I experienced growing up. So after I went on and accomplished my goals as a Division I athlete, I wanted to give back as a coach. I wanted to be like a coach I never had. And through that, I was able to lead with compassion. I was able to lead with empathy. I was able to take a trial and tribulation and dark circumstance in my life, change the narrative, make it a positive, and impact others. There were many, many years ago where my mom, right before she passed away, told me, go help people. And through those types of moments, my why became giving back, helping people overcome their situations with a strong why to overcome anyhow. That is the mission of the BTB project. Remember, the core of Simon Sinek's message is to inspire introspection and a shift in perspective towards prioritizing purpose. He's captivating an audience that this world needs on a day-to-day basis. And I couldn't be more proud of what Simon's done. His message to challenge us at our core, but to do so in a way to spread a message of hope by establishing a well-rounded why to overcome any how you face in your life. Listen, if this episode inspired you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, share it with a family member, friend, or colleague. Tell them why it's important to establish a why, how it's helped you, and send them the message. Let's continue to pay the mission forward by having people understand in our lives that we love the importance of establishing a why and to go after our goals, dreams, and ambitions and doing it in community. I'm proud of each and every one of you. And until next time, take care.